Good morning, Vietnam, and good afternoon, fantasy football lovers or haters, depending on what it is and what week this means for you. Welcome to our seventh episode. I
hmm
always mix this up. I'm terrible at counting. This is our seventh episode, and this is the regular season finale, week 14 of the fantasy football season. And I am accompanied back by my co-host straight back from the cocaine state. Ryan, how was your R&R and your D&D?
It was great, man. There wasn't a whole lot of R&R D&D in Colombia, but in Costa Rica it was very R&R D&D. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Got some sunshine, got to the beach, had some adventures. I'm feeling a little bit relaxed. Only bad thing is I was unpacking my bag Monday night and my camera with all of my recordings and videos and pictures nowhere to be found. Just bought the camera for the trip. So that was a
What?
bit of a bummer. Started out the week a little bit on a sour note. So I'm a little salty about that. Hopefully Spirit Airlines gets back to me and they found my camera because that's where
Oh,
I suspected it
fucking
could be.
fucking rip. Spirit
Yeah.
Airlines.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of a tough sour note to start the week, but we are back here. We are with the podcast and it's time to jump in and we're gonna have a great week. This is probably the most prepared I've been for an episode. There's a lot on the line. I'm pretty excited for this episode. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, it's yeah, as we're repping Joe Shiesty.
Joe Shiesty.
Yeah, this is a great episode. The I'm gonna take a personal triage here. The weight that has been lifted off my shoulders, clinching a playoff spot. It feels like the hand of God has blessed me, not just by the bread that I eat on a daily basis, but from the word of mouth himself. Um, I got my prediction correct last week. I said that I would lose to Keegan, but get the median win. And that is exactly what happened. And that's exactly what I needed to do.
hmm
Um, I wasn't good at the math. I figured if you were going to be on last week, you could have told me that if I get the median win, that I would have made it. But we live in suspense, and we live with a green check mark by our name, and that is over. Go Twins. That is over 60% of our fantasy league. There are still three more teams that do not have that green check mark. Only one more green check mark will be handed out, hence, like a last rose. So we have a very interesting week for two of our three league mates. Do we want to dip into that now, or should we go into last week's matchups first?
I think we run through last week's matchups and then we'll break it down.
I like that. I like that a lot. Um, Would you like me to start, or would you like to start with your game?
I can start with my game. I think it was my highest scoring game of the year, despite Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley combining for a total of 20 points.
Hmm.
Saquon's been very bad, but RJ Harvey, George Pickens, Nico Collins, Brock Bowers, even Jacoby Myers and Quinshon Judkins all did great. Plus, we're highlighted with the as I turn off my Do Not Disturb. Sorry about that. Um, Plus, Seahawks defense, Keegan wants to clown me for having a defense that scores points. It's not the first time that I've had a defense score 30 points this year. I'm just good at picking defenses, I suppose. One thing I want to highlight on my side is I almost benched Jacoby Myers for Brian Thomas Jr. That would have been a flip of 15 points, so I'm really glad I didn't do that. On Jacob's side, it was a tough loss for him, but he got the median, which was huge for him.
Hmm.
Dak Prescott, Kyron Williams, CeeDee Lamb. The Dak Prescott CeeDee Lamb stack on Thanksgiving, I thought I was dead in the water. I think I had only like a 30% chance to win and still ended up winning by almost 40 points, which was crazy. And then James Cook and Brandon Aubrey, like that Aubrey, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott stack, I thought I was already dead. So to come out with a win and a median win and highest score of the week, highest score of the year, we're peaking at the right time, right, Nick? That's when you want to peak, is at the end of the season.
Yup, you want to get hot. You want to get hot at the end. So that is very true. So, congrats on that. I know we
Thank you.
mentioned it last week, Keegan and I did. But in person, officially, congratulations on clinching a playoff spot. So
Thank
that
you.
is
I think you picked me to win, and Keegan picked Jacob to win. So
yes.
Keegan, you can and Nick, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Perfect. All right, we're gonna jump into. My matchup with Keegan, it actually worked out quite funny that I invited Keegan onto the pod, and then we were actually facing each other that week. So that was fun. That caused for a little bit of fun talking and a little bit of fun banter in between. I want to shout out Zay Flowers. He got me point 0.6. It wasn't a zero, but it didn't do me any favors. I also want to shout out AJ Brown for waking up and finally getting the spot of being a true wide receiver one. I think he is back. And that did save me. He got me 35 points, which was huge. So that was really, really big. Keegan not needed, but he definitely needed a W. And this was a solid week for him to do that. Guys like Patrick Mahomes really step up for him. Trey McBride with 22.2 points. Um, as Keegan likes to call him, Lad McConkey, he got him 13.9. And then the Jaguars defense really stepping up big for him. So a lot of big stuff. Even Montgomery getting in the action a little bit, getting in the end zone. A lot of good stuff. Allen had a pretty tough week. I thought he was going to step up a little bit more in Pittsburgh. When I saw the weather in Pittsburgh, I was like, oh shit, he's either going to run for a million or he's just going to have a really sour game. And he didn't do really either. He kind of was in the middle, another 17-point performance. Derrick Henry really stepped up for me, but I ended up losing, but I did get the median by, I believe, 7 or 8 points, which is what I needed. And that was enough to clinch a playoff spot for me. I couldn't tell you the relief that fell off my shoulders Tuesday morning when I woke up and saw that green check mark. I even I went to my fiance and I was like, Haley, guess what? I got good news. And she thought it was something about like wedding planning. And I said, I made the playoffs. And this is the first time in the 3 years I've made the playoffs. So
That is not true, and we'll get into that later.
okay, okay. That is
Ooh.
good stuff. But congratulations to Keegan. My prediction was right that he would
Yep.
win, but I would get the median, and that worked out. So we move on. How about you go over Dub Farmers and MTV Gibbs, and I'll go over Big Al and the Shit Show.
Sure. I think the funny part is we've already covered all four teams that got median wins this week. That's a little bit funny. You actually ended up getting the median by almost 20 points
Oh,
because
oh
all
yeah.
four of these teams failed to score more than 118, which is kind of insane in an eight-man league. Which one did you want me to cover?
Why don't you go over Casey and Kobe?
Got it. Super down week from Kobe, but ends up locking the one seed as a result. He
Yeah.
was able to beat out 90-point Casey. Um, Honestly, nothing really all that good here. Javonte Williams finally had another touchdown. I think it had been several weeks since he had one, and then a good week from Jason Myers, one of the most underrated kickers in the league. So good
Hmm.
pickup because I'm pretty sure somebody dropped Jason Myers. Yeah, Sage. I dropped him at one point. Sage had him for a week. He's been honestly passed around. He's gotten to four different teams in this league, but he's a great kicker. So respect for snagging him. But a lot of red. You can see the only people who beat their projection was Javonte, and then a kicker and defense. And then on the other side, as you would expect, a 90-point performance from Casey. Nothing really all that great to talk about. We do have a trade to talk about, I guess. I
Yep, we
forgot
do.
about that for a minute until I saw CMC on his team. CMC with the week 14 bye and in a must-win game. Casey has dealt him to me. We'll go over that in a little bit. I got nothing else here. Nothing crazy. Both these teams sucked in week 13.
Yeah, it definitely did. But it's still funny. Even Kobe on a very, very down week. I mean, his projection to his actual was like it was almost a 50 point, 40 some point loss. But
Yeah.
he still gets the win, and that's truly all that matters. I mean, JSN having one of the worst weeks. I mean, 2 for 4 with 23 receptions against a sour Minnesota defense. Absolutely nuts. So, like you said, only Jay Will was the only one who killed their projection, but you still get the win. So, good stuff for Kobe as he takes on that first round bye and he gets to sit pretty for the next couple weeks. And then rounding out our final matchup from week 13 was Big Al versus the Shit Show. Um, Big Al taking this win pretty narrowly, 117 to 110. On the stat sheet, Alex was supposed to slaughter the shit show, and that just simply did not happen. Very similar to Kobe having a down week. Besides Lamar, or excuse me, besides Bijan and Raishi Rice stepping up for him, it was a pretty down week. Devon Achane did have a pretty good week. Amon-Ra did go down early in the first drive for the Lions, so that was just a very unfortunate zero. Of course, he was projected a 19 point, 20-point game, which I easily think he would have had. Jefferson having a really, really bad week. Um, I don't know. I think Jefferson might be on his way out of Minnesota, which would be really sad. But when you decline to speak to the media after a game like that, let's just say actions speak louder than words. So that's really tough. On Sage's side of the ball, having Drake May, he had a good day. Chase Brown, pretty solid as well. Devontae Adams, 21.8, having a pretty good day. Only 4 catches for 2 touchdowns, but 60 yards. Still going to get the job done for you. And then left a pretty good chunk of change on the bench with Jay Willie from the Lions. Last week, I think Williams, or 2 weeks ago, Williams had 0 points. And then this week just goes off. It's just one of those things you can't really help. 7 catches, 144 yards, and a TD, having a great Thanksgiving, and then Hunter Henry having a pretty good day as well. Now, I do believe there is nothing Sage can do to get out of the toilet bowl, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. I've been in that scenario, and you just literally try to find anything you can do. But now it's just trying to buckle down and seeing what Sage can do for that toilet bowl to salvage a win. So, tough week. He really needed that W. I don't know what that W would have done. Maybe you know.
Yeah, if he got that W, he could have snuck out of that area, but because his point differential is so low
Yeah,
versus Casey, he would have needed a Casey 0-2 and he would have had to go 2-0
2 and
to be
0.
able to sneak out.
Okay.
I think one thing that's interesting about this matchup is Alex has been seen as a super good competitor the whole year, and he's finally got some question marks. He's unsure what to do with Lamar Jackson. He's unsure what to do with Dallas Goedert. He's unsure what to do with Justin Jefferson. So there's finally a couple like holes, a couple decisions he actually has to make. Usually it's been pretty easy for him to set his lineup with kind of the God Squad, but there's some question marks now, which
There is.
is fun for the parity of the league.
Yeah, yeah, that's what makes this so great. So,
You mind
um,
if I run down the standings real quick here?
let's do it.
All right, our one seed locked and loaded. Congratulations, Kobe MTV Gibbs, 19-7, his first ever regular season win, his first
Kobe.
ever bye. Um, we have Keegan in second place at 17-9, snapping his 8-game losing streak. Alex is 16-10 in third place. I am 15-11 in fourth place. Jank Botico Hart Didi is 12 and
Heart Didi,
14.
not love.
I said a heart.
Yes, I know. So
Okay.
thank you.
And you're locked into that 5 spot. You can't go up, you can't go down. You're going to be the 5 seed.
Yes.
The Dub Farmers Casey is 9-17, as well as consistently Ryan Jacob 9-17, and the shit show locked into last place is 7-19. I've got a couple fun little nuggets for us here. Just some league history that I think is interesting. We have toilet bowl appearances. Sage 1 time, Casey 1 time, Keegan 1 time, Kobe 1 time, and the leader in toilet bowl appearances is actually Nick. Sage will also have 2 starting this year, but Nick has 2.
Hey, not
Champion.
all heroes wear capes, okay?
Yep, that's true. Championship appearances. The only people who have ever appeared in a championship, me, Alex, and Keegan, we each have 2x. So this year we could see a new pattern, but the only people who have ever made it are me, Alex, and Keegan. First round buys. Jacob and I both have had 2 first round buys. Alex has had 1, and you in our first year had a first round buy. You were a
What?
top 2 seed, or maybe it was our second year, but you've had not only have you made the playoffs, you were a top 2 seed
I don't
at one
remember.
point.
That's wild. I must have been drunk that entire season. I do not remember that even slightly.
Keegan, despite having 2 championships, has never finished higher than fourth in the regular season. That is a
Mm.
trend that will break this year. So the luck, the luck once getting into the playoffs has been heavy for him. Um, I'm tooting my own horn here. I've never finished less than third in a season with the postseason. And poor Sage is the only player to have never finished with a winning record.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that shit show name really stands out right there when you say that.
Yep. Our biggest storylines to watch this week. We have Dub Farmers Casey and consistently Ryan Jacob. They're fighting for the toilet bowl. And we also have the Gum Munchers and Big Al fighting for that buy spot. They get to go head to head. We'll talk
Mm.
about that a little bit more later. Why don't we go through that trade quickly and then let's break down what this week is going to look like.
Yes.
So we mentioned it earlier. I received Christian McCaffrey, and in exchange, I sent Nico Collins and Quinshon Judkins. It's funny that's the exact pair of players I received from Jacob a couple weeks ago, where I traded Kyron Williams and Jalen Warren. So I basically just used Nico Collins and Quinshon Judkins for a couple weeks to trade Jalen Warren and Kyron Williams for CMC. I
That's
think
a
it
good
helps
flip.
my play. Yeah, I think it's a good flip.
That's a great
I
flip.
think it helps my playoff chances, but now I've got a lot of eggs in one basket. Nico has been great for me. Quinshon Judkins was great for me last week. What are your thoughts?
Um, I was the first one to respond to this, and I simply just said, "Oh," just because when you see a name like that, especially this late in the year, you think people are dumping to help out other league mates, which in this case it's not. Um, I think this was probably the best move Casey could have made. I think Casey understands no, I think he understands where he's at, and I think Casey is willing to do anything and everything to not do another punishment. Which I totally respect. That is something. If I was in his boat, I would have done it in a heartbeat. I would have done the exact same thing probably. And I think this bolsters you to a point that can maybe gain you that other spot, or that can maybe get you through that next week, pending on. Yes, now we know McCaffrey. You basically in this week it's silly. I mean, you're not playing for this week; you're playing for the playoffs. But this week you kind of went for a 3-0 because you're giving up two players, and then you can't even debut this athlete because he has a bye. Um,
Yeah.
but I think you understand you didn't do that for this reason. You did that for one, for your longevity in the playoffs potentially, and two, Casey did this to cover his ass. So I understand. I think this was a really good business decision by both squads. It's always hard to see a player like CMC walk away. And it's really tough because Casey at the beginning of the year had the best running back duo, in my opinion, with Devon Achan and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, if Casey's set in one thing, it's fucking running backs. Casey's going to be fine. Um, and I mean, hell, I think whether if it was you and me, or whether if it was you, Jacob, and Kobe a couple weeks ago, you guys said like Casey has a stout, like a solid team. Like this had to have been like more than a couple weeks ago, because like he had CMC, he had Achan, he had Jefferson. I mean, he had some really eye popping, eye candy names, and now he's looking at a toilet bowl right in the hole. No pun intended. Talk about number two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I liked it. I think it was a pure business decision. I think it's funny that Keegan immediately goes to a veto immediately, just because of
Such a Keegan thing to say.
it's just the fun banter you two have developed all year, which I've been here to watch. So I enjoy it. So no, I like it. I like it. I think Casey is on a roll with trades that sometimes don't work in his favor. But I hopefully, for the sake of Casey, I really hope this one pans out for him, and I hope he goes 2-0 this week.
I also hope he goes 2-0. I would love some parity down in the toilet bowl. As we said, Jacob has never been in the toilet bowl. He is one of a few different people. I
Hmm.
think me, Alex, and Jacob have never made the toilet bowl. So that could be fun.
Yeah.
I like the trade for myself. I had kind of had a problem that I had like if I were to rate all my players on a scale of 1 to 10, most of them would be between a 5 and a 7.5, and I didn't really have anybody that was like a 9.
Yeah.
So I traded my 7.5 and my like 6 to get a 9. And who knows if it makes my team better? CMC has a bad week 15 and everything comes crashing down. But like I think this is my best chance at winning a championship, and I'm all for it. So
Yeah.
as I previewed in our Snapchat group chat, I broke down all of our stats into ChatGPT. I screenshotted basically every single week, every matchup since week one. So all 13 weeks, I gave every stat into ChatGPT and it ran 50,000 simulations. Um, First, let's talk about the bye. So Keegan and Alex are going head to head. Keegan has a one game lead, but Alex has more points. So there is a scenario that Alex goes 2-0 and Keegan goes 1-1 and Alex still has a better they have the same record, but Alex still has more points. So, ChatGPT thinks that Alex has a 62% chance to get the bye from Keegan, despite Keegan being a game ahead. Keegan has a 38% chance to get the bye. I have a small chance to be able to sneak into third place if Alex were to drop a couple games, go 0-2, and I go 2-0. So I could go up, but I can't go down. And now what we've all been waiting for, Casey versus Jacob. Casey has a 59.4% chance to make the playoffs, and
Hmm.
Jacob has a 40.6% chance. Um, that's what ChatGPT is saying. That's what the numbers are going. Out of 50,000 simulations, Casey won in almost 60% of them. So that's what the prediction is. What do you think about the buy and what do you think about the toilet bowl race?
So I'm gonna start with the toilet bowl race just because I'm more intrigued by that one because that one's just more of a like that one's just more interesting in my opinion than who's gonna get the bye. Just because you have two guys who are literally fighting for their lives, where you have two guys who are literally fighting to take a week off.
Sure.
Where I immediately look to when I hear those numbers, and then when I go to look at the matchups, um, and I know I'm not going to jump in all the way because we're going to do that here in a minute. But I immediately go in to look at, consistently Ryan and MTV Gibbs, and then you go look at the Bean Poles versus Dub Farmers. Um, I think I think it's gonna come down to who's gonna play the right stuff and who's gonna have the balls to play, maybe those streakers. Now when I hear those numbers, now yes, you are playing the Dove Farmers this week. When you see those numbers and you run those numbers, is there any sense of collusion that might be happening between you and Casey this week?
I don't think so. Are you saying or any of those simulations am I colluding?
No, I
Uh,
think it's just that when you make a trade like this and then you're playing him, and then you give off those numbers, it sets a real tone in the group
sure,
that's going to
sure.
upset one side of the spectrum over
Oh,
the
I
other.
I would love nothing more than to collude and put Casey into the playoffs and let Jacob go down to the toilet bowl and potentially have to do a punishment. But I am way too obsessed with being in the top of the leaderboards in our standings that I would never collude because I'm too obsessed with being number one in the league history standings. Um, that's all I will say on that matter.
I understand, and you have to keep it professional to a point. Now, can you reverberate the numbers for the buy? Who the percentages for who? Can you do that for me one more time?
Yeah, that is Alex has a 62% chance to get the bye despite being down a game.
Hmm. Wow. Um, what I'm gonna say about Big Al, is that what you had mentioned earlier, he has holes and in this team, and it's like a block of Swiss cheese. The holes are everywhere. And I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Alex loses. I think he absolutely falls to the floor. I think the gum munchers take this one with ease. Um,
Wow.
so um, I just want to put it out there that our commissioner is a liar and a pig like Nixon was during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it would be nothing more than to see that fall beneath his standards. What are you doing?
I'm trying to change the lights to a more appropriate color. It's not
What?
working very well.
Dark?
I'm
Black?
shocked. I'm shocked that you were saying this. This is hello? It's not working, Nick.
I don't know. This is your setup. In all seriousness, I just like to stir
Well,
the pot. Do I think that's actually going to happen? No. I
okay.
mean, Alex has a 60% win shot percentage over the Gum Munchers. Um, it's just fun to kind of stir the pot. What is that like? Pomegranate pink,
It's Darth Vader red.
Darth Vader red.
Yeah.
Um,
This is how you're making me feel right now. And I love it. I love that the shade being thrown at our commissioner. I personally think that our commissioner is going to take it home, but I love that he has to sweat the shit out of it. I
yeah.
love that he has to overthink Lamar Jackson versus Jaden Daniels this week. I love that he maybe wants to pick up a new QB. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is on the waivers that he could play. I
Mm-hmm.
love that he has to think about playing Colston Loveland versus Dallas Goedert.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he has to think about sitting Justin Jefferson. That's probably not that hard of a thought. I
No.
love that there's decisions being made here. I love that Keegan has to think about playing Omarion Hampton coming off of an injury.
Yup.
There's a lot of fun things about this matchup. I love that they're going head to head.
That is
It's
also a
fun.
fun part about it too, is
It's
that they
fun.
are facing each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty elite. That's pretty elite. I guess one last thing to touch on for Casey versus Jacob. Despite having the same record, Casey scored almost 200 more points, so it's
Mm.
impossible for Jacob to score more points. That being said, Casey goes 2-0. It's over. Um, it's done. The only way that Jacob can make the playoffs is if he has more wins this week than Casey. So if Casey goes 1-1 and Jacob goes 2-0, or if Casey goes 0-2 and Jacob goes 1-1, that's the only way. Otherwise, Casey slams the door if he goes 2-0. If they both go 2-0, Casey
Casey
still wins.
Casey wins
So
outright
that's part of the reason that he's favored. I also think his team is probably
a little
project.
bit.
No, I guess they're not projected more this week.
No.
So, okay, well, why don't we go into our matchups? You and Nick, or you and sorry, you and Sage, your matchup is meaningless, but we can start there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm stoked for this matchup. One, because it doesn't mean anything. And two, I get to just end this year out probably with a W. And Joe Burrow's playing, apparently. So
Joe
I'm
Burrow is starting for the shit show.
he is.
And
I'm looking at our matchup right now. Um so yeah, I tried to offer Sage. I tried to lowball the shit out of Sage for Devonte Adams for Ashton Genty. It's Genty. I know how to pronounce his name. Genty is going to face. He's going to get slaughtered by defenses over the next couple of weeks. I understand that. I was trying to sell high, buy low, or buy low, sell high. But um, I think this will be a good warm up match for my team. I think if everything ends the way it does, now that's pretty.
thank you.
um, I'm sorry. And then I think if everything ends the way it does, I think you and me face each other in the first round of the
Yup.
playoffs.
That'll be
So,
fun. That'll be
um,
fun.
and then
Yeah.
Ivy would like to say that she thinks I'm going to go 2-0 this week as well, over the shit show and kind of end out the year on a bang. So,
I would have loved to pick the shit show. Like I was fully prepared to like pick them. It's going to be an interesting matchup versus Buffalo. If Burrow and Brown can put up like 40 points in that matchup, I'd like it better. But he's starting Zach Charbonnet as RB2 in
yeah,
an 8-man.
yeah.
And the bye's kind of wrecking him. Drake May, Rico Dowdle, and Hunter Henry are out. Like I just there has to be a better running back. I mean, you could have Woody Marks or Chris Rodriguez or Kareem Hunt or Kamani Vidal. Like there's so many better options than Zach Charbonnet, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. So, but he probably should be preparing for week 15.
Sharp
I'm
in
picking
his
James
defense
Pussy
though,
Hardini.
Charbonnet has been like that, like second goal, third goal back for Seattle when they're within like that 5 yard and like 5 yard mark. Not that he's like just banking on him to get touchdowns, but like
He
Charbonnet
kind
has
of is.
found his way into the end zone more than you would think. Kind of like a Kareem Hunt situation in Kansas City. Like he's never projected high, but he always seems to have at least like 40 to 50 yards in a TD, like at least.
Yeah,
Now I
he's
know
got eight
he's
on the
not
year.
he's
So
not playing. He's not playing with house money by any means. But I mean, like
yeah.
Charbonnet is a solid option. Like, yeah, Woody Marks, Kamani Vidal, they are on waivers, and you can go get him. But like, I don't hate the play. One, because he gets in the end zone, and two, he's playing me. So like, that's totally another legit reason.
Okay, let's pivot over to my matchup with Casey.
Mm-hmm.
I just traded two of my starters to Casey, and CMC's on a bye, so that's going to be a bit tough. Honestly, my matchups don't look that great this week. I got to figure out if I'm going to play both Brian Thomas and Jacoby Myers. I probably won't, but like the rest of the guys on my bench aren't looking all that good. DeAndre Swift is my usual go-to in that scenario, and he doesn't have a great matchup. So I don't really love anything that I'm seeing this week, but I'm still projected to win by 10 points. Casey has some interesting matchups. Cortland Sutton versus Las Vegas could be interesting. Nico Collins versus Kansas City is going to be a fun one to watch. But
Yep.
honestly, I'm not seeing anything here that I'm like, oh yeah, that's easy. I guess Quinshaw Judkins versus Tennessee. That should be an interesting one. He should
Yeah.
go he should go for a lot. Quinshaw Judkins had one of the best running back schedules to end the year. So that's a big benefit for KC.
Also,
Um,
is this Casey's second stint with Quayshawn Junkins on his team?
I don't think so. I got him from
Well, because
maybe. I'll
I
check.
tried trading
Oh
for
shit, yeah, he
Judkins.
drafted him.
Yeah, I tried trading for Judkins like 5 weeks ago, and
Oh yeah, I
Casey's like,
forgot about
oh, I
that.
don't want
I
to get
almost
burned
bought.
on more trades. Duh. And now he has Judkins and ETN in his backfield. So, you know, it's either get even or get even worse this week. And for Casey, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Get you love that's not the first time you've said get even or get even worse. That's not yeah.
I like
I
that one. I like that one, and I like not all heroes wear capes. I love
you've
those
said that you
things.
said that one today too.
I'm
I'm gonna
I'm a
pick myself. Are you gonna
okay.
pick Casey?
Um, no, but I think you will win. But I think Casey gets a median, which
Ooh,
hopefully puts him. Now, did you go over that scenario? What if both Jacob and Casey lose but get a median win? Who
if they
moves
go
on?
one and one,
Yes.
Casey wins.
Okay.
The only scenario Jacob wins is if he gets more wins than Casey.
Okay. So 2-0 versus 0-2. Okay.
So 0 and 2, 1 and
Or
1, 2 and 0, both of them, Casey wins. Um, and then if Casey gets more wins, obviously he wins. And the only way is if Jacob goes 2 and 0 or 1 and 1 and Casey has less wins, like in an 0 and 2, 1 and 1 scenario.
okay.
Okay, let's jump into Jacob's matchup versus Kobe. What do you got on this one?
Yeah. So I don't want to look at just one
Uh,
team. Here we go.
there are some sus things going on. I'm hoping that Kobe has not set his lineup yet because there is some gigantic collusion happening if
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 he has
that's
not set his lineup.
if this is the case, and we are posting this right after, if this is the case, I'm really hoping that this is not the case since these two are buddy buddy. If this is what is happening, there will be a heavy talk from the committee going into the weekend. I promise you. Let's just run through the first round buys team. We have Jared Goff, Kenneth Gainwell, Walker. He has a Tetterell and McMillan on bye in his wide receiver one. Waddle, okay. Andrews, okay. Javonte Williams, okay, in the flex. And then Debo, Myers, and the Buccaneers. On his bench, Jonathan Taylor, Jameer Gibbs, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, which is about combined, that's about 70 points on the bench projected. Um, if this is what is happening, the integrity of our league is no more. I think
Yep.
that is
Yep.
collusion written on the wall. Ivy is irate as she runs through the room. She has steam coming out of her ears. So I'm going to urge, yes, I'm going to urge that feeling, and I'm going to urge Kobe take another look at this before tomorrow and before this weekend because that will not be okay.
Yeah, I'm putting on my safety glasses because if this is the case, then I'm gonna get some blood on these bitches.
Yep. Yep. Um, Kobe should win this when he corrects himself to play the correct players. Um, and I really hope this isn't just a scenario that Kobe is trying to save his friend from the toilet bowl. So, um, I
Yep.
think now, on the other hand, I think Jacob has some really good shining players. Being being in James Cook, and then of course CD Lamb. I also think Rome Odunze is going to have a good week against the secondary of the Packers. I think he's going to be a sleeper. I think he's going to be a sleeper play. So on that end, I hope Jacob gets all the points he can and needs, but it's got to be done at the appropriate manner against the best team possible, because no one wants to win a game like that. And I am giving Kobe the benefit of the doubt that he hasn't set his lineup.
Yep. I'm going to predict that Jacob goes 1-1 this week. I'm not sure if I'm guessing it's going to be a median and a Kobe win.
Yep.
I also think Casey probably goes 1-1 this week.
Yep.
So I guess we'll see if we're right about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I am very disappointed at the optics of what we're looking at on MTV Gives, especially for somebody who I was potentially going to give my flowers to is the first time he ever won the league in the regular season. So I'm gonna give him my flowers and then rip him right back for just how this looks currently.
Now, granted, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It is Wednesday night, so let's do that. Once this goes up, it will be brought to everyone's attention. So,
Yep. 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 Yep.
let's move on to the final matchup. This is for the bye.
Mhm.
This is for that last bye. This is Big Al versus the Gum Munchers. Yes, I had my fun opinion earlier, but I think Alex takes this one. I think
Whoa,
Keegan goes.
whoa, whoa. Are you backtracking? You literally said that Keegan was going to take it.
Yeah, I know. I said I like to have fun, and stir the
So
pot.
you were just going on your high horse to have a rant that meant nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's great. It's great for audio later.
I'm blue with sadness on that because I totally
I'm
thought we were going to have a nice spirited debate on I thought out Big Al was going to win, you thought Keegan was going to win. Now we're on the same side. I'm switching over. The Gum Munchers are taking home their very first bye.
ah.
I don't like that you're switching sides, so I'm going to switch sides. I think that Alex's team is full of Swiss cheese holes, as you said. It's
Hmm.
pretty on paper, but they can never play together. They're not a team. There's no locker room guy. Now, this could change if he picked up, say, a Tim Tebow, say a Leonard Fournette, say a Tom Brady, say a Rob Gronkowski, somebody to hold the team together if he drops somebody like Trey Tucker who does nothing. If he has a locker room guy to pull this team together, I'm flipping back over. But for right now, you have a locker room guy like Woe Nix, like an Alec Pierce, like a Cam Little, a Lad McConkey, a Tyler Warren, a Trey McBride. All of those are locker room guys.
Hmm.
And I think Keegan's team, as of right now, as of Wednesday, December 3rd at 6:53 p.m., I have my money on the Gum Munchers.
All righty. Well, you heard it here. Um, I think this will be the best matchup of the week. Can we agree on that?
I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Yeah, that'll be good. Especially with the scenarios of the buy, the buy game, and then the exit toilet bowl game. We got some fun fantasy football to watch, which isn't always the case. So, I think what would make it even better is if Jacob and Kobe were actually going, or excuse me, if Jacob and Casey were actually going against each other.
Yeah.
We can't get that great all the time. So,
Yep. 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 I agree. I'm excited for this. This is going to be a fun week to follow. There's basically something happening in every single matchup besides the one that you and Sage are involved in. But who doesn't love a little stat padding? I'm pumped. I Who knows? We'll see if ChatGPT's predictions come true. Right now, it's saying Alex and Casey are going to take home the bye and the playoff spot, but we'll see. I'm excited for this, and then we have playoffs, and that's going to be even more fun.
yup, playoffs are right around the corner, baby. We're getting to the best time of the year.
Yes, sir. You got
So,
anything else to add here?
Nope. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I hope you had a good time away. I do. I feel absolutely awful about the camera situation. That wasn't something that was brought up earlier. I really hope that comes back to you in some manner. Probably because you had some good content lined up, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but we try to prevail and we try to move on. But best luck to you this week as we get ready to saddle up and get on the high horse for playoffs.
Thank you, and down with MTV Gibbs for what we are seeing currently.
What we are seeing. Like I said, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because it is Wednesday night. But if it does not change, there will be a conversation had.
I think he's just trolling with us. I think he's baiting, waiting for somebody to send it in the group chat so he can dunk on all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But even the bait's like, shame on you.
Yeah. So, alrighty, gents. Jacob, Casey, best luck this week. Alex Keegan, best luck this week. And we will see you on the other side.
Peace.
Bye.